Welcome back. Sensei Kerry here again to help me. We've been asked to look at Goshin Hos. Goshin Hos, for those of you who don't know, are classed as self-defense, but they're more jiu-jitsu moves. If you train Wado, then you need to do jiu-jitsu moves. Because if you do jiu-jitsu moves, they don't work unless you're actually moving your body. Yeah. So you'll be able to see the actual Wado moves in there, but you'll be doing jiu-jitsu. And we all know that Sensei Otsuka was a jiu-jitsu expert before he even did karate. So if you're not doing jiu-jitsu, you need to practice some basic locks, find some pressure points, and add this to your karate side of your Wado. So if you do this, your kions will benefit. Anything that you do in your Wado will benefit from doing some jiu-jitsu moves. So if you're a jiu-jitsu guy watching this, I'm not a jiu-jitsu expert. I only know these. These are part of the syllabus that in the association that I'm privileged to be a member of. I don't really know of any other associations that actually do jiu-jitsu moves. I'm sure you'll enlighten me. But again, we've been asked to do this, so bear with us. But enjoy. Right. Right. When you viewed the good Nash of this, it looks as though I'm not really doing much. So there's lots going on. First of all, let's look at the grip on the hand. So if I just put my hand on top of Sensei Kerry's hand, yeah, when I start putting the lock on, he can just let go, which is great because that's what we want to do, but we'd have to resort back to our karate. Yeah. So when you take, then try and have half on the hand and half on your arm. So you've anchored it, you've joined the two, you've welded the two together. Then you have to think about moving your body. So instead of trying to stand there, trying to do this, you need to think of doing your shitouki. Can you see the effect that it has? So, but just by doing that basic movement of shito, you can see the effect on the uki here. So, thanks. What we need to discuss as well is two new words. One is called kara itai. You've heard of kara before, empty hand, karate. Kara itai is a distraction. So it's either kick to the shin or to the eyes. Those are examples of kara itai. Then the next word is hanatai, which is hard. So here, turning. Yeah, kara itai, to distract, to get them to think down here. Yeah? Turning. Then, can you see the attack, the shito to the wrist? Yeah? Not just here, but using my internals. Doesn't look much, but yeah. Also, knees. Yeah. Also, find find your pressure points, which you can use your elbow. Yeah, just stand up a sec. So, for my Scottish friends, it's like playing the bagpipes. Okay, to try and put onto this pressure point. So, feel it. Yeah, when you turn, can you see the lock still on? Now, this is where you use your hanatei, your hard technique, to the groin, to the stomach, to the face, but very careful with the face and very careful with the groin. So hard. This is where you would put the hard technique in and let go. Don't let go until you're moving away. So keep the lock on.
Goshin Ho number 1. Uko can really help Tori with this, in so much as if the lock is genuinely on and you're finding it uncomfortable, make sure you tap and tap loudly and clearly. It doesn't take much to injure the tendons and the joints with these techniques. It should feel like, imagine a boa constrictor. They gradually squeeze, 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 squeeze. So everything that happens with this should be more and more and more and more pressure. And the final turn, so the body is in line for the kerry, should be the most intense pressure of all. Because they've applied the wrist lock, they've sat down, they've used the muscles. So this is tightening, tightening, tightening. The final turn really puts the pressure on. So if you can feed back to Tori, is the pressure increasing, 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 increasing? Or as they move, are they starting to lose that pressure? So it should be tightening up, not slackening off. But if you're doing this and the pressure is on, make sure you tap loudly and clearly, because it's not going to take a lot to damage your wrists.
So these are quite basic, but they are involved. They're quite complicated. They don't look much, but there's quite some dramatic effects in there, especially if you're learning. You're starting to learn about the skeleton of the uke, your skeleton, where various points are. Yeah, and you start then to understand how it's important to move your body instead of trying to fight them, muscle against muscle, but to move your body. Quite interesting that kind of use your sensei. That sorry, yeah. It's not very often that somebody will go for the wrist or the arm outside. It would be either this or it would be here, yeah, before they punch. So why do we go to the hands? If you can think of sword, yeah, then the quicker I can get my sword out to cut, the better. So the uke really goes for my hand or my wrist to stop me from drawing. So this is the origins of it, where you want to try and stop them from drawing a weapon, yeah, to stop them, to stop both. Yeah, so you can adapt them to higher up, and some of the Goshin-ho that we'll be doing later, we'll be looking at sleeve, collar, cuff, even to understand, yeah, strangleholds. So for your Wado, you need to be able to adapt, to be able to move. If you've got a good Wado person, they can usually adapt to most martial arts, because they can see the various disciplines. Might not be fully functioning go into a different style or a different martial art, but they will appreciate what's going on. They will see the intricacies of another martial art, and they will appreciate it. Yeah, so Wadori is a very small, minimal movements. Yeah, so must get used to doing some Goshin Hos, please, believe me. Thank you.